What's good out there, Liquid Trucking? Welcome into the Liquid Trucking Podcast. I am your host, Marcus. Thank you so much for being here today. We got episode 51 in the blocks for you and ready to fire the starting pistol. And man, this episode has been something else. Now, Jason Eisenman and I, we had been going back and forth on this episode for weeks now. What we really wanted to do here was get an economist in that could talk us through kind of an end-of-the-year State of the Union freight market check-in, okay? We had some trouble getting, a lot of those guys are really busy because they're really important people when it comes to the trucking industry. A lot of people depend on them to be able to make forecasts and kind of plan ahead. So I want you all to know that we are still very heavily efforting just a world-beating economist to come on this show. And I promise you, when we do get one on here, we're going to have a fantastic conversation with them and really dig in to their thoughts on the freight market. So do stay tuned for that. Hopefully it's going to be coming up here within the next, 5 to 10 episodes. It might take us a little while to organize it, but we're going to get it. So it's got a lot of people wondering, okay, well, we know what the episode's not. What is the episode about? Well, again, I got to thank my guy Jason Eisenman because he came up with this idea a little while back, and he said, hey, how about the tech that moves trucking? We got a lot of drivers out there utilizing a lot of different technological advancements, and maybe we should get them on and have them talk a little bit about the things that make their day go by a little bit faster. So today on the Liquid Trucking Podcast, we are talking about the tech that moves trucking, and I'm very excited about it. I've got 3 drivers coming up here in just a little bit. We're going to have Mikal Duncan. You might know him on this show as Donut. Donut's going to join us along with Nathan Dobrenz, and Joseph Hutchison who will make his first appearance here on the podcast. And we're going to talk about all the tech gadgets that they use. I sent a text message to all you drivers out there asking if there was any gadgets that you use that make your day go by a little bit faster, and a few of you got back to me, so we're going to have the conversation. I'm really looking forward to it. A little bit of homework, though, before we do move on to our interview today. First off, head on over to the website. Our landing page for the website is a real cool spot that you can go to get all things Liquid Trucking Podcast. Now, it's real simple to get there. All you're going to do is head on over to liquidtrucking.com. The homepage there is actually, that's the easiest way to get to it. If you don't want to type in a bunch, I'm sure liquidtrucking.com is already in your bookmarks. So head over there. You'll see a banner at the very top of the page. It says, check out our brand new podcast. It's got a picture of me. You click the Learn More button. That's as easy as it is. If you'd like to just type in the web address, that's simple too, liquidtrucking.com/podcast-home. But it's got every single episode that we've ever done. Right now, there are some pictures up there of some of our guests that we had on for the Veterans Day episode. Highly recommend you go check that out. Those won't be around past, I think, November. I think we're going to keep those up for an entire month. So make sure to head over and check out those pictures. Check out all of the episodes. Maybe you have missed some. They're all there. You can send me an email there, which is also just as easy as shooting one over to podcast@liquidtrucking.com. And everything that you need. It's like a one-stop shop for the Liquid Trucking Podcast. And it's a really great resource for us, so please make use of that. You might be surprised to hear this if you're somebody that listens to podcasts on Spotify, or maybe you use Apple or YouTube. We actually get more downloads from web browsers than anything else. So that means most of you drivers out there that are listening to the Liquid Trucking Podcast right now are listening through a web browser. So that's why we thought having a podcast landing page on the liquidtrucking.com homepage was a good idea. So it's there for you. Utilize it. Let me know what you think about it, again, by shooting me an email, podcast@liquidtrucking.com. We also take suggestions there as well, something you want to hear. Maybe you just want to come on the show for one of our fun kind of variety conversations. We can make that happen, and we're always looking to welcome new drivers into the fold here. And one more piece of homework I've got for you from Jason directly. It looks like Liquid Trucking is going to be testing out mobile hotspots. They've got a couple of trucks that these are going into. It's the same company that brings you guys Epic View. They have a couple of units that will be sending 300 gigs of high-speed data per month to your truck. Liquid's got a couple of these guys that they're going to go out and test, put them through their paces, see if they really work. But these boxes can stream more with faster speeds. We're talking speeds that you probably have like close to what you get at your house in the truck, 300 gigs per month. This is going to be great for gamers. This is going to be great for people that like to stream a bunch. Maybe you're one of those guys who has your own YouTube channel and you like to upload videos from the road. 300 gigs of data is really going to help you not have to mobile hotspot your phone anymore and, shove 50 pounds of data through a 1 pound hole, if you know what I'm saying. So we're going to keep you updated on this as the drivers put these things through their paces that are testing them. Hopefully here before too awful long, you guys will have the ability to get your hands on 300 gigs of data for your truck from the people that brought you Epic View. If you have any thoughts on that, you would like us to consider anything, I say us. Look, I'm just a middleman here. If you send me an email that has anything to do with this, I'm just going to make sure and forward it on to the powers that be at Liquid so that they get their eyes on it. So if you have any thoughts, again, podcast@liquidtrucking.com. That comes right to your boy Marcus. All right, it's time for us to get to the meat of the episode. I've got Nathan Dobrenz, Joseph Hutchison, and Mikal Duncan. You can call him Donut. Later on in the episode, I have scoured, I don't know how many top tech gadget lists, okay? A lot. I've scanned ones for truckers, ones for tech nerds, ones for people with way too much money burning a hole in their pocket, and I've come up with 8 different things that's kind of a trucker tech wish list, okay? We're getting into the holiday season. It's time to start putting your list to Santa together. I'm going to give you a few ideas towards the end of the show that might be able to make your Christmas list. Hopefully I did good. So all that and more coming up right after our interview with Nathan, Mikal, and Joseph. Here it is.
Welcome to the gold standard of podcasts for the gold standard of drivers. This is the Liquid Trucking Podcast with your host, Marcus Bridges.
All right, next up here on the Liquid Trucking Podcast, very excited to have 3 Liquid drivers on the phone, and we are going to talk a little trucking tech. These 3 gentlemen actually responded to me with things that they use, I'm sure, daily, little technological things that help them with their life out on the road. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce him here. You might know him as Mikal Duncan. We know him on this show as Donut. Welcome back to the show, Donut. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Happy to be back.
Also joining us, we've got Nathan Dobrenz. Nathan, glad to have you back, man. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me back on.
And making his first appearance on the show, you may know him as Joseph Hutchison, but we're going to call him Hutch. Hutch, thank you so much for being here, man. First time on the program. You excited?
Sure thing.
All right, cool. Well, we appreciate you guys' time. And also, one little thing I'm going to go ahead and just touch on here real quick. Hutch and Donut both are out working right now, of course, and they might have to drop out of the conversation to talk to the people where at the customer that they're at, shipper or receiver. So give them a little slack here. Obviously, it's an involved job, and you guys got to prioritize that over the podcast. I totally understand. So if all of a sudden you don't hear from them for a couple minutes, that's probably what's going on. Let's go ahead and jump right into the suggestions that you guys gave me. And Donut, I will start with you. You actually confused me when you sent yours. I had to send you a WTF text message because I didn't know what you were talking about. You mentioned games cases, GAEMZ, if I'm not mistaken. Tell me what the hell that thing is, because I had no idea before I asked you.
So what a games case is it's a portable little briefcase thing that has a mini TV in it, and it's geared to set up your gaming consoles for travel, or a lot of truck drivers have them. You'll see them at a lot of truck stops.
I had never heard of something like that, but it sounds like it would be great for any traveler that wants to take a video game console with him.
God, we use that and a little like 24-inch TV in a briefcase that we set up when my family and I travel.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really cool. So how much do these things run?
They can get pretty pricey. The one I got was about $250 when I got it.
Okay. So that's not too terribly bad. You probably spend that on a TV that size if you were just going to buy the TV,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Roughly. I mean, it might be a little less. I know the last TV I bought that was a decent size was it didn't cost that much.
Oh, wow. So
But
you stole that TV, it sounds like.
it was a cheap and cheesy Walmart smart TV that I just needed to serve a purpose for like a weekend.
Gotcha. Okay, so the games case, obviously, it plays a big role. Now, how much are you gaming when you're out there on the road? Obviously, I know you're driving for a large portion of it, but when you shut down for the night, are you pretty much games until bed? Is it something that you just do every now and then? Like, what's your standard operating procedure here, Donut?
Oh yeah. If I have the time, I mean, I have so much I have to do before I bed down for the night. Average is, you gotta do the regular, get ready for, shower, shave, and call the family, and then eat and go to sleep. But on my 34s, I'm breaking that thing out. I have my games case, a computer, laptop computer, Nintendo Switch. Like, I alternate between them.
Damn. Well, you're good. You're well set up there, man. I'm glad to hear that because everybody needs a little break. I know for me, video games is where I go when I want to shut the thoughts off. And trust me, you guys listen to this show. I talk a lot. Imagine that sped up by like 3 times and put that between my ears. That's what I've got going on up top. And the video games for me just shut all that off and allow me to focus in on something and not worry about anything else. So I'm sure that helps you out, kind of keeping the stress level down after a long week of work. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I have the same issue.
Yep. And we talked about it off the air. How we deal with these things is caffeine and nicotine is what we figured out. So that's a hell of a blend there. Hutch, I want to go to you because you actually gave me a couple of different examples of things technology-wise that help you out along the road. The first one is the Bluetti Power Station, and I'm assuming when I see Power Station, this is something that is for charging all your devices or plugging in maybe some some cooking apparatus or TVs or anything. Tell me about the Bluetti Power Station and what it does for you.
Well, honestly, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It does all of my powering, everything that I do want to entertain myself. Just throwing it out there. If Headshed would like to reimburse me for some, I imagine it saves me probably anywhere from $50 to $100 a week in fuel savings for not having to idle.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Well, hey, I mean, look, if you ain't asking, you ain't getting, right? So we might as well ask.
Yeah. But it supports 2,000 kilowatt hours. Wow. And so some of the things that I use it for, I have my gaming console. I have an electric blanket for when it gets cold. So this thing can actually support, let's say I have a breakdown, which happened to me a couple weeks ago, and it was really cold outside, which luckily it wasn't. This thing could support my electric blanket for 20 hours before needing a recharge.
Wow. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and because they supply us with 1,200 watt inverters, it'll actually only takes 2.5 hours to fully charge from completely dead.
Wow, that's amazing. And so, from like a phone standpoint, or maybe you're charging your headphones or your headset or something like that, I imagine you could charge those things 10 times over before this thing would run out of juice.
Oh, it wouldn't even make a dent in it.
That's awesome.
So I can run my electric blanket on high, run my PlayStation and the TV, and it can do that for probably 15 to 16 hours straight.
Wow. I was expecting you to say like 2 or 3 hours, but 15 to 16 hours straight, that's a hell of a power station. So it sounds like maybe you kind of, did you break the bank on this thing? Because it sounds like a really cool piece of tech.
It was pretty pricey, but like I said, it can be used for everything from camping with the family. Like, you can run a coffee pot for like 7 hours on it,
Whether you need it or not, right?
Yeah. So like the 2,000 watt hours. So, you got to add up whatever you're using, so it'll basically support 100 watts for 20 hours,
200 watts for 10 hours, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Very cool, man. Well, so for those of you wondering and thinking about going out and grabbing yourself one of these, it is the Bluetti Power Station. Where did you pick that up at, Hutch?
I actually got it on Amazon because it was on sale, but Bluetti has their own website. It's spelled Bluetti. They're actually coming out with a new model here and very soon, probably next week. So all of their old stuff is on sale right now.
Oh, perfect. And you know, typically when you get a good tech product like this, you don't have to buy the new iteration every time it comes out because the old one works so damn well.
Yeah, this one said that it could basically for 3 years, it'll still be able to charge up to 80% of its life after 3 years.
That's pretty damn good, actually.
Wow, that is really good, man. Well, run out and buy one of those things, especially if they're on sale. That's a great little gadget to have in there. And you also told me about something else that, to be honest with you, Hutch, because I've never had you on the show before, and it's the first time you and I were meeting. When I read the text message that said HDMI glasses, I kind of thought you were messing with me. Because I didn't know it was like
Those exist.
HDMI glasses. I knew they existed, but I thought they were like for watching movies or something. And I'm like, is this guy watching movies while he's driving down the road? What the hell's going on here? So, talk to me about these things.
So these glasses solve the issue I had with the TV problem, right? So I used to have a 40-inch TV, and I broke a couple of them just from driving around or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And so what these HDMI glasses are is basically they're kind of like AR glasses that you could plug an HDMI cable into.
Augmented reality. All right.
That's pretty
So
cool.
it simulates like 100 and some odd inch TV screen projected right in your face.
Wow. So
And,
you're actually putting these goggles on or these glasses on and just kicking it in your bed, and you're like sitting in front of a theater screen in your perspective.
Yes, and it goes along with the power saving issue. They take a whole lot less power than a TV.
Wow.
They have their own chargeable battery. Their speakers are on the part that goes over your ear, so it's like you're listening in stereo.
Dude, that is awesome. And like this sounds Inspector Gadget to me. I'm going to be honest with you. I did not know that technology like this existed until right now. And I'm thinking, God, you had to have broken the bank on these things. How expensive were they?
Well, I went with the cheap Chinese knockoffs, right? So the ones that are like top of the line, it's called X-Reel. And so they're actually wireless, right? So you plug everything into this little device, and then it wireless casts it onto your glasses, and you can even get streaming services and everything like that for it. But the ones that I end up getting are the cheap Chinese knockoffs. They're from TCL, and it's just specifically to connect HDMI to,
Mm-hmm.
because I figure everything that I have that has my apps on it has an HDMI output, like my game console or whatever.
Right.
And so they ran about less than $200.
Oh, wow. That's a steal. That's so cool, man. I got to get me a set of these, because what I really want to do is like spend some time with my wife, but she really enjoys watching horror movies, and I am not a horror movie person. We talked about that over the Halloween episode. I'm not your friend in a haunted house. I just don't like being scared. But you're telling me I could sit there with these cool glasses on and watch Top Gun Maverick while she's watching some bloody horror flick right next to me. I love that.
Oh, well, they got to be coming from two different providers, so to speak.
Yeah, that's fine. She
So,
can use
like-
the tablet. I'll plug into the 72-inch TV. Why not?
Yeah.
What's the refresh rate on that thing?
Yeah, good question.
I think it all depends on the kind you get or whatever, but I think it's at least 60.
Not
I did
bad.
VR stuff in the past, and I think anything under 90, you would start getting motion sick on it.
And so
At
that
least
was
my experience.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Have you ever had any headaches, Hutch, or gotten like a little bit of motion sickness from this, or does it work pretty well for you?
It works pretty well for me. There's a couple different models, like, there's kinds that are actually like goggles,
Mhm.
and they like completely cover your face. These are more like sunglasses, and so it's more like projecting an image of a TV instead of covering your whole face, so you can kind of see stuff beyond it if you if you had to.
Gotcha.
Almost like an alternate reality glasses type of thing.
Sure. Well, and I mean, I think it's a good question that Nathan brings up there, because I look, there's one thing I never want to do, and it's throw up with a VR mask on. But the couple times that I've used a VR mask, I've gotten very close to getting sick just because I've kept it on for too long. But this sounds like, you can see the environment around you. You're not totally pigeonholed into, having all of your sight covered up by this thing. So I like it, dude. HDMI glasses. I'm putting this on my Christmas list. I'm going to try to get me a pair of those so I can chill out. And, I'm a big Top Gun fan. I might even watch Top Gun 1 and then Top Gun Maverick right behind it. Who knows? I can get crazy with these things. Thank you so much for bringing them to my attention. Nathan, I want to go to you real quick here, because you brought up one that is, I would say, kind of almost what I would call synonymous among truck drivers. That's the Garmin 710 Truck Navigator. Talk to me about yours. Do you have one of the big ones? Did you get one of the small ones? What do you like about it? Why does it help you out there on the road?
Well, when I first started driving, I went with Rand McNally. Just kind of given to it by my trainer at my first company. Because he's like, you don't have a truck GPS up? You're going to need this. Google's going to screw you if you just use Google. So here. But I switched over to Garmin. This one I got at Love's. I saved up Love's points, and I only had to pay about $300 for it.
Oh, nice.
Thing with Rand McNally, I found out they don't update their maps if the device is over 2 years old. They stop updating it. They stop supporting it. Garmin will keep supporting it for up to like 5-6 years after the original, they released it.
Sure.
I liked it. It's a 7-inch screen, because I'm not the one that wants a big tablet basically on the windshield. I've always had problems. I don't know if you guys have problems with it. After a while, randomly, your suction cup, either your phone mount or the GPS mount just falls off randomly, and you're like, really?
Yeah. All right. It's good to know that some four-wheelers have similar problems to you drivers out there, because my phone falls off my damn dash all the time, and it pisses me off to no end. So I totally get that. So what size did you go with?
I have a solution for that, too, if you don't mind me interrupting.
No, duct tape? What is it? Wire ties? Zip ties?
You know those workout bands that people get to put their phone on their arm while they're running?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I have my phone in one of those that's wrapped around my sun visor.
Oh, that's a good idea. Look at that.
Right.
Doing a little farming there.
Right. Another piece of tech, I don't know if you guys heard of it. I don't know. You guys Apple or Samsung users?
Michael Hutch, you guys go ahead. Samsung?
Yeah, Samsung for me too.
All right. So one thing I found is actually really inexpensive. It's, the newer Samsung phones have Samsung Dex built in.
Mm-hmm.
You get a little hub. It's like a $30 hub off of Amazon. He basically turns your phone into a computer-ish. Plug in a mouse, plug in a keyboard, and it gives you HDMI, so you can project your phone to your TV and use it as like a rudimentary computer. I've used that to bypass. What I used to do is I have Verizon as a hotspot, but only lets you have 50 gigs a month, and out here you can burn through gigabytes quick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I haven't realized it. So one way around it is, when I have my PlayStation in the truck or my computer in the truck, I would just do a hotspot tether to get internet on the computer or the PlayStation and game. If I wasn't at a truck stop that had free Wi-Fi. With that, I was able to circumvent, streaming to the TV, because I could just bring up Amazon Prime, Netflix, whatever, YouTube on the screen and not kill the data, because it'd just be going through cellular on the phone. It doesn't know the difference if you're using a hotspot or cellular, putting it to the screen. Relatively expensive, like $30-$40. If you already have a keyboard and mouse.
Yeah. Everybody's got a keyboard and mouse. I got a box of like 6 of those things laying around somewhere in the garage, I'm sure. So that's a real inexpensive way to work around it.
Yep. And life pro tip, do not put your desktop computer in these trucks. I don't care what truck you got. It survived, but it's just like a tell vibrations. So, I don't care what truck you're driving, the vibrations all every day. Those computers are not designed to handle it long term.
No, they're not. And this one that I'm sitting here looking at, I needed a bit of processing power for all the video and audio I record. So they bought me an Alienware, and this thing is I'm glad they called it Alienware, because it looks like a goddamn spaceship. It's massive. I don't know if you want this thing in the cab of your truck, because it's going to take up the entire passenger seat. There's better ways.
At my peak, I had so much electronic in the truck. I was killing the APU the inverter every night if I cranked it up just right.
Wow, that's
because I had a 40-inch 4K TV put in. I had my computer that had a 1,000 watt power supply in it. Then I was running the PlayStation. I was fine. The second I hit the microwave,
Sounds like you could use a Blue Eddie.
Yeah, it does.
yeah,
Hell of a sales pitch.
Here you go.
Yeah, man. You guys were talking about burning through gigs. You didn't hear this because you weren't on with me when I recorded this spot, but in the intro, we talked about the fact that Liquid actually has a couple of guinea pig trucks out there right now testing 300 gigabyte per month high-speed internet for the trucks. It's the same company that Epic View is offered from. And so I imagine those of you guys that are big gamers or watching a lot of movies, streaming a lot of stuff, I imagine that 300 gigs on the truck probably sounds pretty exciting, yeah?
I mean, yes. Yeah, I mean, I actually had a measurement for that on the peak days, just you know, if I'm having a podcast in the background going, if I didn't download it or whatever, or YouTube music going, I could burn 3-4 gigs a day in a 10-hour.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easily.
So 300
It
might
all
actually
comes
get you
down to the price.
Yeah, that's another thing, obviously.
And the reception. I mean, if it's going to be working off the satellites that the trucks have already, if that's going to be its back end, I'll be interested in that, because so far the satellites picked up in the most raunchy ass places. I still got perfect service. So.
Oh, that's great. That's great, because you don't want to spend a bunch of money on something like that and then have it not work in the one place that you want it to work. Like that's the whole deal here. We're looking for these kind of destitute areas out in the middle of nowhere in a mountain range or something like that. If it doesn't work out there, what the hell's the point? I mean, you guys remember those old bag phones, right? When cell phones got invented, the old bag phones that used to connect to the battery in your truck. Did you guys ever have one of those things? You guys might not be as old as me. I don't know. I'm 40, so I saw the advent.
I know.
I've heard of them, but I haven't actually used them.
Oh God, they were something else, man. We were in the bottom of a canyon in the middle of an elk hunt one time, and something happened. I think it was a flat tire or something like that. My dad just walked over and called out. I was like, if they could have done that back in the late 90s, why the hell can't I do that today? It's a little bit of a pisser, to be honest with you.
I remember once going across New Mexico on 40 for whatever reason, Verizon had a snafu from the state line of Arizona to Tucumcari. Nothing.
So I got a question for you, Nathan, about that. With the Garmin, do you get really good reception on that thing pretty much wherever you're at? I know that, my golf GPS that I've had over the years, that thing will connect anywhere. It seems like maybe your 710 will do the same thing. It's really good at being connected.
Strange. Like, it'll hold reception in tunnels. Like, I could go through the tunnels, Norfolk, Virginia, hold it. Eisenhower Tunnel. The only two places I remember it losing service was, let me see here, New Hampshire, through the hills there. It lost service there. And for whatever reason, outside West Wendover, it lost it for a little bit. But I'm like, if you get lost on 80 over there, I don't know what to tell you. It's freaking follow 80 across. You'll find something.
Yeah, just keep driving. Oh, it's great, man.
For the most part, it's the only thing I've noticed with these GPSs is the RAN included. On the winter, they have a problem with heat. They'll lock up. They won't give you a warning it's overheating. It'll just shut down and reboot on you. Ram at the worst time, right when you come to your goddamn exit. It'll system. I'm like, shit. What exit number was that?
Oh, yeah. That is one thing about tech, is that tech has a real penchant for Murphy's Law type stuff. Like, everything works perfectly until it doesn't, and when it doesn't, it's always right when you need it. I mean,
man.
Yeah, you guys probably deal with this more than anybody as far as your tech's concerned, I would assume.
My previous job was extremely tech heavy. I was a tech guy in the military for 16 years, and then I was the tech guy for Leavenworth Penitentiary. And so
wow,
I messed with it my whole life, and I do everything I can to stay away from it now, unless it's specifically for my comfort.
Yeah, because otherwise you're turning up that stress level, man. You know how many IT professionals I've read in forums, or I've had them tell me directly that they just Google the problem when we have it at whatever work you're at. It's like you go to an IT guy and he's like, man, I don't know, but I can know real quick. I could also teach you how to search this and do it yourself.
Well, I'll give you a little industry figure. I used to work for 3 months. I was the social media manager for a video game company for, I'm not going to say the game, so I don't know if I'm still under NDAs and stuff, but I work with them.
Uh-huh.
I was watching them code their next game, and I asked them, because I wasn't a coder, I was more social media side. I understood code, but I couldn't sit there for hours and figure out what the hell to put on there. But he's like, look, all that we're doing is going here. I want a loading bar looks like this. Okay, here's the code, copy paste it. Here's adjusted, make it look how you want it done. That's all we're doing. It's just copy paste till it fucking works.
Wow, that sounds like pretty cool. And also, it's a peek behind the curtain as to why so many of the games I buy brand new don't work out of the goddamn box, and they got to go update them a bunch. But hey, it's okay. So tell me this: why are IT guys always so grumpy if it's all copy and pasting and Googling? Is it just because the rest of us are blithering idiots and we don't know how to use the things that we depend on each day?
I would say it takes a special type of person to sit in front of a computer screen. Like, it takes a special type of person to sit behind the wheel of this truck every day.
Yeah.
It also takes a special kind of person to verify with 7 different people that the power button is turned on, and then you fly halfway across the country to push a power button.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I have been on the receiving end of that trip across the country before, so I can't say anything against that, man. You're dead on there. Oh, that's great, guys. Okay, well, let's before we wrap this up, because I've already had you on here we're pushing a half an hour here. I want to let you guys get back to it, but I do have a couple of questions for you. Donut, I'm going to start with you here. What's something on your wish list right now? Like, if money wasn't an object, is there a tech gadget that you would pick up for the truck to have for those creature comforts?
Oh.
I like that. I like these sounds that are coming out of you guys. We got some giggles. We got like a heavy sigh. Remember, money's no object here.
That's a hard question. Honestly, I'd love that power cell thing, and I'm loading this truck up with all sorts of stuff I can cook with. I am so tired of truck stop food. When I'm home, I cook.
There you go.
So I'd love to be able to do that on the truck.
Yeah, man. Get yourself an air fryer, a crock pot. I'm sure you got a microwave in there probably, but that's not going to cook you a meal. That's just going to warm one up.
Hey, I have made some amazing goulash in my microwave.
Hey, man. You got to work with the tools you have. I mean, that's for true. So, okay, how about you, Hutch? What's on the wish list, man? Anything that you could possibly want for your truck, what would it be?
Well, like I said, I got the blanket and everything covered for the cold weather. What I would really like is something that I can plug in that helps in the hot weather, like obviously, I could go out and do a window unit AC or something, but something small enough to just take the edge off in the heat. And then I'd be pretty much set.
Have you seen those, they're like little fans that mount on the back of your seat that they basically would like blow kind of cool air on your neck while you're driving, but while you were in the sleeper, you could flip that thing around and it would just be a little bit of a breeze in there. Have you seen those?
Well, I've got a little fan that I throw in the window of the sleeper, but when you're fanning 90-degree air on you, it's just as good as sweating in 100-degree inside. So
that's a good point. Good point.
I've tried setting a bucket of ice over top of the fan. I've done everything except for put an actual air conditioning unit because, you got compressors and water that leaks out of it and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, that would be my wish list, is something that would work as an air conditioner.
Yeah, get you down to a nice, cool, chilly 68 degrees in the cab so you can just feel like, that feeling, if you guys have ever been to like Vegas or Arizona in the summer, when you walk back into the hotel or back into the resort out of that sweltering heat into that nice, cool, like refrigerator temperature. Oh my God, there's nothing better.
Yeah, especially when your glasses fog up when you do that. Glasses.
Yeah, exactly. Right. All right, Nathan, how about you? Trucker wish list, as far as tech gadgets are concerned, what's on yours?
I only got really 2 ones. One, I would definitely want a large tablet of some sort, like a Samsung tablet, just because, yes, you have all the tech in the truck, but since I'm home on the weekends, I'm regional, I don't feel the need to justify putting it in here because I just do a 34 at home.
Mm-hmm.
But for the few hours at night I'm in the truck before I pass out, I'll just get on the tablet, go on my YouTube, Instagram, whatever, get all that done. And the second one, I would like to figure out a way to whatever cell phone boosters that businesses use, the giant antenna, some way to rig it where I got cell phone coverage anywhere. Some sort of cell phone booster, because whether we want to admit it or not, with trucking nowadays, you kind of need your phone to freaking do your job 100% and be entertained. You need some sort of connection to the outside world.
Sure. No, and I've seen some, actually, when I was putting together, I talked about a trucker wish list. I will talk about it, later on in this episode. And when I was putting together that list, I saw some cell phone boosters. I did not know that you could easily drop like $600 on a cell phone booster. I mean, they're not cheap.
I had one. I haven't asked them to put in this truck yet because so far where I've been going to my routes, I haven't had cell coverage issues. I thought the Dakotas would be a problem, but no, Verizon's fine with the Dakotas and all that. But that one cost me about $450 on Amazon when I got it, and it worked. I had to rig a way to put it on the truck because it was designed to go on like a Peterbilt mirror mount, like that kind of clamp mount.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we found a way to mount it on the visor, like put like where the clearance lights are in the front. So we had internationals that had a little visor went over. We just screw it into the visor bolt, like put an extra bolt in there, then with a couple nuts and screw it in there, and that worked for the most part.
Nice. Well, very important stuff there. A cell phone signal, and the connectivity. I think that's what I'm hearing from you guys is like, trucking has changed so much over the past 20, 30 years. You guys, the industry used to never be connected unless there was a payphone or a CB radio. And it's gone all this way to where you guys are literally almost always connected. There's very few places where you're not connected, it seems.
Well, the CBs have almost become useless nowadays. I mean, they're good for when you're talking to the scale operator, but talking to truckers here and there on the road, it's almost impossible because you have folks with home stations that are blowing out like 1,000 watts that you can hear from Florida. And like, okay, so now I can't talk to anybody else around me.
Mud duck in the desert.
The only time I heard mine turn on. No, fucking mud duck. No. Only time I hear this radio climb up if there's a backup and everyone's like, okay, what lane shut down? What's going on? All right, thank you, and that's it.
Well, at least they're using it for that because, we've had a driver tell a story. I believe it was Drew Hearn on this show. He said that if somebody hadn't called him, he was coming up over a snowy hill in the dark at full speed, and just right over the cusp of the hill was a full stop. I don't know if it was a pile up or a traffic jam or what it was, but he said if it wasn't for somebody coming on his radio and warning him, he probably would have drove full speed into stopped cars. And, it's something that I feel like because we're so connected, you kind of forget about the utility of a CB, but really important piece of tech to have in your truck for sure.
I mean, I always call when I see bears on the side of the road. I'm like, bear over here, just letting you all know.
That's cool.
Don't screw up.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Good for you. I remember being a young kid. My dad managed a sawmill, and so he had a CB in the truck that he was always talking to truckers and everything like that, bringing in logs when they were coming into the log yard. But he would exclusively use that CB when we were on road trips to check for cops. And I thought it was great because the truck drivers out there were awesome. They'd tell you mileposts, they'd tell you direction, they'd tell you everything you needed to know so you could slow down to 65 miles an hour for about a 1 mile stretch and then get it right back up to 80. Of course, not you drivers. This is us doing stupid four-wheeler things. I want to make sure that that's clear. But,
yeah, we don't never happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Good on you. Thanks for putting that in there. We just want to make sure that they hear you say that. So all right, fellas. Well, listen, I really appreciate the time today. Mikal Duncan, also known as Donut, Joseph Hutchison, known as Hutch, and Nathan Dobrenz. You guys have been awesome today. I always want to make some space for any final thoughts that you guys might have or anything that you want to say to anyone that might be listening. So, Donut, we'll kick it off with you. Anything for us before we let you go?
Well, to anybody listening that wants to give me something for Christmas, that Blue Eddie sounds awesome.
There you go. There you go. This is a perfect time to build your Christmas list right now. Duncan wants Donut. I always want to call you Duncan because of the donut thing, but Donut wants himself a Blue Eddie power station under the tree this year. I hope you've been good because the other choice is coal. So have you been a good boy this year, Donut?
It depends on who you ask.
All right, I get that. Don't ask the wife or the better half is what you're saying.
Oh, no, you can ask her. She's the one with the highest opinion. I don't know how, but...
I heard it. All right, Hutch, how about you, man? Any final thoughts here? Well, I guess first I'll ask you, is your first appearance on the podcast, what did you think? Did you have a good time?
It was
Not a problem. I wanted to be on a couple of them before, but, by the time I got around to stopping and replying to the text messages, wasn't sure if it was still an available thing or not, but it's good first experience.
Awesome, man. Well, I'll tell you right now, you've got my cell phone number now, so next time you want to come on, just reach out to me directly, and we'll make it happen, okay? We really appreciate the time and you jumping on here with us. What's any final thoughts for us before we let you go? Maybe something for the Christmas list or a message to anybody that might be listening?
Yeah, just if they realize how much fuel I'm saving them and they want to reimburse me for my Blue Eddy, that I'm open for that conversation.
All right. Like I said before, man, you ain't asking, you ain't getting. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. So that's going on Hutch's Christmas list. Appreciate the time, man. Thanks for being here. Finally, Nathan Dobrenz, any final thoughts for us or maybe an item for the wish list?
Item for the wish list, I'd definitely say the tablet, but for the final thoughts, I would say, like, even with all the tech we have in the truck, there's some old school things that I think are so relevant, which is a map book. Map book has saved my ass more times than I want to admit. Not so much in the Midwest, but definitely on the East Coast.
Yeah, I can imagine, man. The East Coast, when you look at a map of roads of the East Coast, it is bonkers. Like, we're so spread out over here on the West Coast that, unless you get down to like Southern California, Northern California, we don't have those mazes of highways and byways like they do out there on the East Coast. So having a good map book in the truck, definitely going to save your ass.
Yep. The Garmin has ran me through a couple of low clearances more time than I want to admit in Buffalo, New York, Connecticut. I'm like, right, okay, I guess we're making it 911. I need a backup. Help.
Their truck route signs will send you through low clearance.
Man, right?
That's crazy. And see, you can't call it the Garmin 710 trucker navigator if you're going to drive people under low bridges. Like, that seems like...
Yeah, they should call it the Garmin guide you to a 710 bridge.
I love it, guys. Well, hey, Donut, Hutch, Nathan, thank you all for your time today. Really appreciate it again. And, hey, I'm excited to have this conversation with you guys out in the future, see what new tech gadgets you picked up over Christmas time, all right? You all be safe out there, and we'll get you back on the podcast soon, okay?
All right.
Thanks a lot, Marcus.
All right, thanks.
All right, good stuff there from Nathan, Michael, and Joseph. Want to thank those guys again for joining us today. Listen, we are always so grateful for the drivers that spend any amount of time talking to us on the show. So if you're out there kind of mulling it over, chewing on it, thinking about coming on here for your first appearance, just know we'd love to have you. I'll make it as easy on you as I possibly can, and we'll even get to have some fun while working. So it's a pretty good deal that we're offering here, and we'd love to have you involved if you are interested. As I said in the open there, just send me an email, podcast@liquidtrucking.com. And also, almost any one of these gentlemen that you've heard on the show before, whether it be Michael, Nathan, and Joseph from today, any of those guys from the Teenage Hotline that you've heard on the show many times, they all have my personal phone number, and they will all hand it over to you if you tell them you're just looking to get on the podcast or deliver a suggestion or something like that. So make sure to get in touch with me if you are looking forward to getting on this show. Would love to have you. Right now, I want to get to a little bit of a trucker tech wish list that I put together. I've got 8 items on here. I went through, look, there aren't too many wish lists for truckers out there that just have to do with kind of tech gadgets. I went over and checked out a bunch of trucker wish lists, and a lot of it is stuff that, from talking to so many of you, it's stuff that I already feel like a lot of you have. It's, crock pots, and it's mini fridges, and it's these things that's like, yeah, but these guys are experienced drivers. These dudes have already... They're not just getting started here. You guys have got gadgets, all right? You're already working towards making it a home on the road. I know for a fact that some of you are out there just living in your truck, so it's highly unlikely that I'm going to tell you that, hey, it's a good idea to have a microwave, and it's actually going to make a light bulb go off, and you're going to go get one. So I tried to focus this list around things that drivers may or may not have, and part of it is due to just the expenditure. I know everything is expensive right now. All right, eggs are running like $5 a carton. I get it. So I did put a couple of high dollar items on here, but they're kind of supposed to be the ancillary things. Really, what I was doing, I was looking for some cool tech gadgets that you could get on a budget and, treat yourself this holiday season. So let's get started out. Now, obviously, I researched and formed this list before I did the interview with Michael, Nathan, and Joseph. So you're going to know that this very first one that I'm going to talk about here has already been talked about on today's podcast. But I've talked about it with so many different drivers. I just know that this is a real good deal. And number one on our list is the Garmin OTR Truck Navigator. Now, there's like 6 or 8 different versions of this thing that you can get, all the way from like a 6-inch screen up to a 10-inch screen. They range in price from $349 to $899. But in the end of the day, it's a very highly rated and reviewed truck navigator. And of course, as many of you know, if you're golfers or hunters or fishermen or anything like that, Garmin is a mainstay in the GPS field. So check those out. The Garmin OTR Truck Navigator, you can get them at Garmin's website, I believe just garmin.com. This next one might catch some of you guys as goofy because I kind of laughed at it a little bit just because it's so simple that you don't really think about it. And all of us that grew up helping our dads work on trucks or do projects or craftsmanship of any kind, just general handyman work, we all got yelled at for not holding the flashlight correctly. It's real simple as an 8-year-old to be pointing a flashlight at something and have your mind wander off into the great blue yonder just in time for you to finally look back down and realizing you're pointing the flashlight right into your dad's face. You're going to get a talking to. But I thought about that. Hey, how do we help mitigate this problem? I know a lot of you drivers are dads out there, and you probably been getting blinded by a mag light when you're home working, or maybe you just don't have a light to see when you're out working on your truck. It's late, it's early, doing your pre-trips. Well, how about a pair of LED flashlight gloves? That's right. These gloves, you can get them at Uline for around $25. They're really not that expensive, and they are a bit more of a heavy-duty glove. I won't say that they're as heavy-duty as some of the gloves that you guys probably own, but they're good work gloves, and they have an LED flashlight on each index finger and on each thumb. So I don't think that you could, pop a transmission out with these things, but if you, let's say, okay, how about this? How many times have you dropped your cell phone down between the console and the seat? How many times have you lost something under your seat or under your bed in the sleeper berth, or there's something up on a shelf and you can't see? Man, if you've got a pair of LED flashlight gloves, you are made in the shade. Actually, you're made in a wash in LED light, okay? Pretty goofy. I will give you guys that. But $25, I mean, look, I would throw $25 at it just to see if they work. In fact, I might head on down to Harbor Freight, my local Harbor Freight, and see what they've got down there on the discount rack. We'll see if those things hold up for more than a month or so. Coming in at number 3 on the list is there's actually 2 entries that have to do with sleeping well on this list. And I want to qualify these real quick before I get to them. I'm talking about when you're on your 34. I'm talking about when you've had a really rough day and you can't get to sleep. But these 2 things, obviously, they should definitely stay unplugged in your sleeper berth when you're not sleeping, okay? Because, look, anything that's meant to put you to sleep, obviously you want it far away from the driver's seat and unplugged. I just wanted to make sure and say that because we're on a trucking podcast here. And safety is obviously our biggest priority. So just me doing my job. But the Renpho eye massager with heat made my list. Renpho is spelled Renpho. This eye massager, you fit it over your eyes. It actually heats up the temples a little bit, and it's got a gentle massage right there. Anybody that gets headaches from stress or just being overwhelmed in general, I cannot tell you how good it feels just to rub your own temples. I mean, it's like a movie trope because people, when they're frustrated, just rub their own temples, and for good reason. It feels really nice when you feel like your head's about to pop off your shoulders. You can get this Renpho eye massager with heat 30% off on Amazon right now. It's only $60. Thing would normally run you $100. Check it out. It's pretty cool. Next up on our list at number 4 is the Anker PowerCore Essential Portable 20,000 PD Power Bank. Now, this one is not like the top of the line. Anker is the brand, Anker. They make power banks like you would not believe. I mean, big digital displays on them. These things could probably charge your Tesla if you had one. This one, not so much. It's got the USB-A and the USB-C connectivity, and it runs $29.99 on Amazon. The cool part about it is it will charge your phone, your headphones, maybe your GPS. It'll charge all these things multiple times over. So maybe not something that you need in your cab, since you've probably got all the electric and charging things that you need in your cab. But maybe you're a guy like our buddy Matt McKellar, who likes to go out on a hike and enjoy some adventure. Last thing you want during your 34 is for your phone to die so you can't take pictures of Red Rock State Park or wherever you happen to be roaming around. So check out the Anker PowerCore Essential Portable Power Bank. Again, you can find it on Amazon right now. $29.99. That's a hell of a deal. Number 5 is our other sleep aid that came in on the list here. And again, keep this thing unplugged unless you are done off the clock and ready to go to sleep. The DoDow sleep aid device is a metronome-style timed light system that flashes lights of certain shades. Flashes is kind of a bad word, because I think if it was flashing at you, it'd probably keep you up. This is like going to turn on and dim and turn on and dim, and it's timed, and these lights are supposed to help teach you to fall asleep. Now, I don't know about you, but when I see that something is supposed to teach me to fall asleep, I start thinking about how I've known how to fall asleep for all 40 years of my life. That's where the red flag came in. However, I will say I went through, I read a bunch of reviews on this product. They have sold over 500,000 of these things already, and I didn't find very many bad reviews of it, okay? If you have trouble sleeping, this might be something that can help you fall asleep faster and get a better sleep so that you are refreshed and ready to go when it's time to get on the road in the morning. You can find them on Amazon. They are $59.99. And as I said, I have a note written here just because I wanted to make sure and cover this base as much as I could. Unplug the little son of a bitch before you get on the road, okay? We don't want some dim lights flashing in the cab and start to see tired drivers because I was trying to get you some cool tech gifts for Christmas, okay? That's not something we want to see. So I will go ahead and just put a period on the end of that sentence. Unplug your DoDow. Which, by the way, can we stop with coming up with names that just sound like nonsensical bullshit? DoDow? DODOW. You tell me that made it through a focus group? That shouldn't have even made it through a focus like Tim. Like, you have one guy, his name's Tim. He's supposed to be able to tell you if you came up with a bad name. If you've got him, Tim should be fired and you should hire somebody else. Lay him off. Give him a severance package. I don't care. But DoDow is a terrible name. Moving on, number 6, this is something that you guys might already have. A lot of you, I know, swear by air fryers. You like to cook on the truck. The air fryer is a very handy piece of equipment to have. The reason that I chose this one is both price and capacity related. The Cosori, Cosori, Smart 11-in-1 air fryer toaster oven combo. It has an air fryer convection oven. It sits on your countertop. You can bake, roast, reheat, broil, and even dehydrate in this thing. You want to make some jerky on the road? Pop it in the air fryer and get moving. That thing will ding and it'll be done. And when you're ready, you'll have meat snacks at the handy. I love it. The other reason, too, once I said price is one and capacity is the other. This thing has a 26-quart capacity. That's huge. If you've got somebody that rides along with you or you like to cook once and eat all week, having a large air fryer like this would definitely help, especially because you can do roasts, you can bake stuff in it, you can air fry stuff in it if you need to. And again, we already talked about the jerky angle. Something like this sounds like it'd be pretty expensive, okay? I know that my air fryer was well over $100 and probably creeping up into that $200 range, and it doesn't do half the stuff that this Cosori will do. You can get this Cosori right now on Amazon for $129. That's a 26-quart 11-in-1 air fryer by Cosori. Once again, Cosori. Search that on Amazon along with 11-in-1 air fryer. You'll find the one that I'm talking about. Plus, It's got a cool kind of stainless steel finish to it. I don't know about you guys. Every appliance is either black, white, or some weird eggshell color that they made up in the 70s and fell in love with. I myself, I don't dig it, man. I went out and bought a stainless steel dishwasher. I've got the stainless steel fridge. Something about that finish, that kind of brushed aluminum finish, just looks nice, man. So those are all reasons why I went ahead. I know that nobody's probably too concerned about the aesthetics of their air fryer, but I'm a visual guy, so that's why it made the list. Coming in at number 7 as we near the bottom of the list here, this one is, aside from the Garmin OTR, this is the most expensive thing on the list, but I think it's really important. We talk a lot about physical health from time to time on this podcast. How are we staying healthy? We getting out and walking, we stretching, what kind of things can we do? How can we eat better? Well, hey, one thing that you can't avoid being a truck driver is sitting all day. You guys are sitting for a very long time. And leg compression is something that is very valuable to people that spend their days sitting down. These Quinier, so Quinear, Professional Sequential Air Compression Therapy System for improved circulation and leg massage. These are foot and leg recovery boots, okay? So they actually they slide on, they go all the way up kind of above the knee a little bit, they go down around your heel. You flip these things on, and guess what? Heat, pressure, massage, get the blood moving in those legs. It'll help you with blood clots. It will help you just feel generally better. You know, I used to have a wrestling coach. He would go and we would run for 20 minutes nonstop at the beginning of every practice. We had this long hallway with 3 staircases and a big ramp, and we just sat there and ran circles around that sucker until your feet bled. And after that, when we got done, my coach would always make us do one thing, and that was sit up against the wall, lay on our backs with our butt against the wall and our feet up in the air. And that was to drain the lactic acid out of your legs. You don't think about how much fluid and just gunk that your legs hold on to, but they really are the biggest kind of part of your body aside from your torso. Like, you think about lopping a leg off, how much you'd lose, okay? You take that thing off at the hip, you're down 50 pounds, bro. So this kind of compression therapy has been proven to really help people that sit a lot. In fact, considering I record podcasts for a living from the comfort of my home and I sit in this very desk chair every single day, there is an imprint from my ass. I've been thinking about getting myself some leg compression sleeves to try to help alleviate, because honestly, I'm not the most motivated person, and last place you're going to find me after a long day talking to truck drivers is at the gym. Sorry, I got video games to play and football to watch. You heard? Hey, I know it's not the most healthy decision, but if I can mitigate some risk in the long run by spending the $279 that these guys will cost you on Amazon, I think it's well worth it. Again, this is the Quinier Professional Sequential Air Compression Therapy System, Quinear, $279 on Amazon. I actually picked these ones because they're relatively affordable compared to some of them. Most of these, now you can get bottom of the line ones that are running like $120. If you want to take that risk, by all means, it's your money, go for it. I just find when you buy the absolute bottom of the barrel, you end up buying 2 or 3 of them. So I stepped up a couple rungs from the bottom of the barrel here. This is kind of a quality budget offering. You can spend as much as $1,000 or more on these things, but they do work. So do some research, check it out. Again, the Quinier Professional Sequential Air Compression Therapy System on Amazon. I'll run you $279. And finally, oh, look, I did 3 different sleep-related things on this. I'm concerned about you guys getting a good night's sleep. I just want you to be safe out there on the road. I know that takes a well-rested driver, okay? So the last thing here is the TheraBody Sleep Mask. This thing blocks out 100% of light, and it gently vibrates on your face to help you sleep. So this isn't one that you would like keep on and wear when you were awake, like the Renpho eye massager. This is one that you're going to put on to actually help you go to sleep. Listen, I sleep in a pitch black room. The thing is like a cave, okay? And I like it like that. Even one little light. I have a little tiny blue light on my fan. It's the size of a pinhead. It sits 15 feet from me when I sleep. and I swear to God, that thing lights up the room like the damn Northern Lights. I hate it, and so I'm always looking for a way to turn that thing off. I have friends that are the same way. They absolutely swear by these 100% light blocking sleep masks, and this one from Therabody is going to gently massage those temples and help you go to sleep too. Sounds like a win-win to me. It is a little spendy because it just hit the market. We're looking at $99 for the Therabody sleep mask, but you can find that over at their website, therabody.com. So there you go. That is my Truckers Tech wish list for the holiday season here. Hope that you got something out of that. If you're looking for more information on any of this stuff, send me an email, podcast@liquidtrucking.com. I will get you a link to where you can go purchase this stuff, or just go ahead and send that link on to whoever your Santa is this year. See if it'll end up in your stocking. That's going to do it for episode 51 of the Liquid Trucking Podcast today. Thank you so much for being here. As always, I have been your host, Marcus. A big shout out once again to Nathan, Michael, and Joseph for joining the program today. We'll hope we gave you a little bit of a peek behind the curtain of what tech truckers are utilizing. And I hope that the wish list there gave you some ideas of some things that you should be putting on your Christmas list this year. Be safe out there, drivers. Keep the shiny side up, and we'll see you next week for episode 52 of the Liquid Trucking Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in and being the gold standard of drivers on the road. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and tune in next week for another episode of the Liquid Trucking Podcast.